Can we talk about the price of eggs for a minute? Because the price of eggs continued to go through the roof since the orange criminal took office. And it's gotten so bad that it's like you almost need to take out a second mortgage to make a freaking omelet. And so the question is, whose fault is that? And the answer is clear. It's Donald Trump's fault. Yes, it is. It's Trump's fault. Why? Well, because that's the new rule, baby. The new rule is that everything bad that happens in this country and anywhere in the world is Donald Trump's fault. And I don't want to hear about the bird flu or any other excuse for why the price of eggs is up. No, we're not going there. We tried to tell people about the bird flu and all that stuff before the election, and no. People just wanted to blame Joe Biden. And so this is the new rule, because Donald Trump blamed everything on Joe Biden. Donald Trump and his cult and, Fox News and all of right-wing propaganda media, they blamed literally everything on Joe Biden, including the price of eggs, despite the fact that it's obvious why the price of eggs is on the rise. That doesn't matter. They lied about it. So that's the new rule. That's the standard they applied to Joe Biden. That's the standard we now apply to Donald Trump. That's how this piece of shit got elected, at least in part, right? By blaming everything on Joe Biden, whether he had anything to do with it or not. And people believed it because we are surrounded by idiots, all right? So that's the new rule. So egg prices, Donald Trump's fault. If you've noticed, gas prices are also climbing too. That's Donald Trump's fault. And prices on pretty much everything are going to start to skyrocket as Trump implements all these tariffs, which it really seems like he intends to do. We wondered about whether or not he was serious. Is he really serious? I mean, is he really that stupid? Or is he just saying that? Is this all bluster? Is this just, because his cult is too stupid to understand what tariffs are and he's just telling them this? Or, what we got from people who defend Trump but who know better about tariffs. They know tariffs would be a disaster. They would say, oh, he's not serious about tariffs. He's the world's greatest negotiator, don't you know? And he's just saying that to get a good, negotiating position. Well, maybe not so much, because it really sounds like he thinks tariffs are the solution to all our economic problems, because he keeps talking about how, America was much richer before we had the income tax and we did everything by tariffs. He keeps talking about it. So, and it certainly looks like he's going to do it. So if he does, prices are going to continue to go through the roof, and to the extent that they're the result of his tariffs, well, that's definitely Donald Trump's fault. Now, your job, our job, is to be pushing this message relentlessly. Okay, that's what Trump and his cult did, relentlessly, day in and day out. The price of everything was Joe Biden's fault. It's too expensive to live in this country, and it's Joe Biden's fault. That's why you have to vote for Donald Trump. Well, now, we flip this shit. Every day. If you're on social media, whatever social media platform you're on, you need to be talking about this every day. If you're on there with, say you're on Facebook with friends and family and you don't want to get into the arguments, you don't have to. Just post a link to an article. Post some of my videos. Post whatever makes the point that you want to get across. Just leave it there. You don't have to say anything. And if people comment, just ignore it if you don't want to get into it. But we need to stop ceding these spaces to the right. So I'll stay on the Facebook example. So most of us, I have a Facebook page for the Romano Report. I also have a personal Facebook page, which I really never use. But I check in there occasionally. I never post anything. I check in because it's friends and family, mostly old high school friends and college friends and family. And used to be, people talked politics all the time on there, on both sides. But our politics have become so just awful People don't really want to talk politics anymore with friends and family. They're just disgusted by it and they don't want to get into it. And I've noticed that's much more so the case with non-Trump cultists. Because it's really, from what I've seen, it just, my own little experience is that it's only the Trump cultists who talk politics anymore. Everyone else is like, no, I'm done. I don't want to talk about it. And so what happens is that only the Trump cultists are putting their point of view up there. They're the only ones sharing articles and making comments and things like that. We got to get in there and mix it up and counter them. All right? Don't let them get away with now, saying, oh, it's the bird flu. It's not Donald Trump's fault. No. It is Donald Trump's fault, and you need to get in their faces. And again, if you don't want to do that, just post articles. Just post something and you don't get into it. But we need to be in these social media spaces because more and more that's where people are getting more of their news and information, right? Mainstream media is dying. It deserves to die. I hope they reform themselves because they should be playing a really important function in this country. They just are not doing what they should be doing, which is one of the reasons I started this channel. But you could be doing, your own version of me doing this or whatever is, you feel comfortable doing, but you got to get in there and put it out there and blame this sack of shit for everything that goes wrong in this country. And the best place to start right now is the price of eggs because they're crazy. They're going through the roof. Eggs are a staple. It became a campaign meme. That one of the things that got Joe Biden or got Donald Trump elected was the price of eggs. Well, let's shove it right up his orange ass and now hurt him with the price of eggs because that's really our political job going forward. Because I get this all the time. Well, what can we do, Mark? What can we do? How do we fight back against this? Well, unfortunately, right now, politically, we don't have a lot of power. There's not a whole lot we can do, especially in Washington. There's things we can do in the states, federalism, to push back against this overreaching authoritarian government. But so we don't have a lot of great options right now. I can't come up with, a magic solution for you. This system is the system, and there's only so much we can do. So what we need to do is get back into a position of power. And to do that, we need to fight back politically. And that means changing people's minds. Now, I know you can't reach the cult. I get it. So don't tell me, oh, Trump's cult will never blame him for anything. That is true. Okay? That's not the point. Donald Trump did not get elected with his cult alone. The cult, the hardcore cult who would support him no matter what, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's not anywhere close to half this country. Okay? Maybe it's a third. Maybe. There's a lot of people who voted for Donald Trump, but who are not part of the cult. They are just your average moron who doesn't pay attention, doesn't know shit, and doesn't really care. To the extent they vote and they care about anything, they care about what affects them personally. They're too stupid to analyze the situation and assign blame to the people who are actually responsible for the things they're upset about. That's why they're easily swayed by, oh, well, Joe Biden, it's, the price of eggs is Joe Biden's fault. The price of gas is Joe Biden's fault. They're too stupid to know any better. Well, Joe Biden's president, so it must be his fault. Those are the people we have to reach. Those are the people who, if you keep saying this over and over and over again, price of eggs, Donald Trump's fault. Price of gas, Donald Trump's fault. War in Gaza, Donald Trump's fault. War in Ukraine, Donald Trump's fault. Hey, the war in Ukraine is Donald Trump's fault now, too. He was supposed to end that thing within 24 hours of taking office. Still going on. So now this son of a bitch owns it, all right? Let us not let them get away with trying to rationalize how it's not Donald Trump's fault. Oh, well, the business cycle and the avian flu and, Joe Biden left him the war in Ukraine. No. New rules. We're not playing that game. Trump's fault. By the way, if you haven't watched my original video on the new rules, should be popping up at the bottom of your screen right now. Please check that out. I'm getting inside, hands cold, Talk to you later.